And we are live.
Probably put this
Sorry to
away.
keep our fans waiting, that all 0 of you who are currently here. Um, but that will change soon. Um, we are here. Ro is eating his sugar-free whipped cream. Yep. The dinner of champions.
All right, I'll put it away.
We have 3 people now who witnessed that, Ro. And we are here with the one and only Stephen Jarocki. Actually, I told him there's another Stephen Jarocki in Kentucky that's not him. But anyway, the author, Stephen Jarocki, he is one of a kind. And he is calling us from an exotic location. Stephen, where are you calling in from?
River Falls, Wisconsin.
It doesn't get more exotic than that.
Wisconsin. That's not bad. I mean, you have things going on in Wisconsin, right? You get like cheese and cows, and
I mean, there is a lot of cheese. No, conveniently, my brother works for a cheese plant. He tests cheese to make sure it's safe, and then apparently he just gets free cheese all the time. He's just buried in cheese. It's great.
And you didn't say why couldn't you work for a beer factory or something?
Well, honestly, I think I'm really more of a cheese enjoyer as compared to a beer enjoyer.
Is it good cheese at least? He doesn't work at a plant that makes those blocks of orange American, 5-pound blocks of stuff.
Yeah, no, their cheese wins awards, in places. I don't keep track of it or anything, but apparently it is a really sophisticated operation. So
nice.
Yeah, not super important, but no, I don't. As far as me, I don't actually go out and do that much, which is sort of convenient when one is writing a book.
It
is. Look at all the time I have because I don't do anything.
Right. You're going to get to do this again, though. And EL, I asked the same thing. So I will let Stephen give you the answer he gave me.
Yeah. So this art is not mine. I live with a roommate, and he owns the house. And so all of the decorations are his. I just live here.
So not a Styx fan then, huh?
I mean, I've listened to a few of their songs and they were good. So I'm not. I do have sort of a soft spot for the 70s and 80s music, but
as you should.
But music was decent.
We're not I honestly sort of agree. There's not a lot of music coming out that I'm like, wow, that's really good.
So much of it is you hear a little bit of it and you go, oh, I know that song. And my kids are always like, how do you know that song? It's because this song is from 1975. They just redid it, or they lifted a portion of it to use, and there's a lot of that going on.
It's true.
It's the benefit of being old.
There's got to be some benefit to it, man. Because there's just not a whole lot of other ones. What are you writing, Stephen? Let's talk about that instead.
No, I write. I guess I'd call it clean high fantasy.
Like Snoop Dogg high fantasy, or
no, no, like Dragons high fantasy. But yeah, so it's kind of in many ways it's sort of generic, which I think is actually okay, right? I'm not over here. I didn't make this maximum sophisticated world filled with incredibly interesting things, but I think in many ways it sort of serves the stories I happen to be telling a little better. My stories tend to be more grounded and character driven, and so getting caught up in a super sophisticated world I think is sort of what I would almost detract from it. Now I do pride myself a bit in the world building that is there, but ultimately the world is not dramatically unlike ours.
Right.
So, Stephen, do you have copies of your books handy by any chance?
I did, in fact, grab a few. There's a pile of them like down there, but like it's a little too far away. So I pulled up a few. And that's
how many different titles do you
have? A trilogy, right?
Yeah. So that was the first book, and there's this second book, and then I don't have the actual copies of the third book, but I have a proof, so I'll show that.
Nice.
That will be the third book. It comes out in like a week.
Awesome. So EL is going to pepper you with questions, so we might as well get these. So is it darker or lighter side of fantasy?
I would say it's definitely on the lighter side.
Yeah, so I'm guessing then graphic, violent, and spicy. The answer is no, no, and no.
Correct. Well, I mean, there's like a little violence, but like not. I don't. I think the first book is probably literally PG rated, and the second and third book are probably PG-13 because like the story escalates a little bit and things get a little bit darker, but it's still like nothing that is like properly like adult content.
And to clarify for people who are in our Discord, when he says PG-13, it is not E.L. Montague PG-13. It is realistic PG-13. Yes, so not E.L. violence.
But you know, your covers show that wonderfully. You look at these covers and you would automatically think, okay, this is not going to be a graphic, spicy, overly violent series.
You
would look at those and say, for your 12-year-old who's starting to get into reading fantasy or whatever, this might be a really good option, even if you didn't write it for that age group.
Yeah, no, so I would say I tend to think of it as my writing is for adults, but is YA friendly. Like you could read it as a younger individual, and you wouldn't find anything like hugely objectionable. I don't like go out of my way to like have YA themes though. This particular story that I happen to write first is more of a coming of age story, but it's still I don't think it fits quite into the YA sort of archetype. The protagonist is just too old. She's 25. Like, holy God, so old.
Why? Yeah, she's a spinster at that point. So what's the story?
So I think like I have a pitch. I'll try to remember it because I always forget it, because this is what you do as an author. You make a pitch and then you forget it every time anyone asks you about it. So it's the story of a young woman heading out into a goblin-infested wilderness in search of her long-lost mother, but instead she finds a purpose to live for and something else among a people she's been taught to despise.
Is that purpose killing goblins?
No. No, it's not. One might say
that would be great to get somebody on one of those lovely quests and then just have them go totally rogue.
Yeah, no, so I think it's actually in many ways the story is sort of the opposite of that. There's a certain level of like both the title and the blurb of the first book are slightly deceptive. Like they don't necessarily reflect exactly how it happens, because like it talks about it being a goblin infested wilderness, and like that's not exactly false, but that's also not quite how the story unfolds. Like you come to see that maybe some of the goblins at least are not even like remotely evil. They're actually like just really pleasant.
They're misunderstood.
Yeah. So
is that what you're saying?
I mean, to a degree, I think there's
no, EL, no.
So there is misunderstanding, right? So like, because I think that's just like the natural way that this sort of stuff works, right? Unfortunately, and like it's kind of a reflection of the real world, with some nuance to it, of course, because it's a fantasy world. But like a lot of these problems are caused by like a misunderstanding, but there are bad actors that sort of poison the well oftentimes, and that leads to people doing like actually sort of reasonable actions that end up just like spiraling toward evil. And that is kind of what's happening in this book. That's like it's sort of background. It's not like hugely important to the plot, but it is sort of happening.
So when you're writing this, are you thinking to yourself, "Now that doesn't make sense. I have to make this make sense"?
Yeah, I would say so. I think there's two factors to that, right? Because it's like, first of all, it has to make sense in the greater world that the story takes place in. I have too many notes about like what other stuff happens in the world. I have other story ideas. I have another book that's like mostly done. It's currently like I'm currently working through edits of it that takes place in the same world, but isn't actually related to this story whatsoever. But also like I believe like books have like a certain power to them, and so there's like a degree that you want to like recognize the way things happen in real life and sort of reflect that in the story, at least to a degree. Now, like obviously, I think you both can't and in many ways shouldn't reflect life exactly, but there should be parallels there that are like teachable, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you reflected life exactly, what's the point of reading a book? Isn't it the whole point of it is just kind of a little bit of escapism, right? So
yeah, I mean, to a degree, but also like it's
so there you go, mission accomplished. Somebody likes your goblins.
That I would say so. It's funny. I think in the greater trilogy, I have two favorite side characters, and neither of them are human. And one of them is a goblin, and that goblin is adorable. So,
see, that's good marketing right there, because goblins make a good plushie.
That's an excellent point. They gotta get the plushie manufacturing.
How are you at crocheting?
Yeah,
I'm not very good, but I know some people.
There you go. That's the important thing.
You make some goblin crochet things, you will be you'll be set up at craft shows and Comic-Cons and stuff. It's crazy.
Well, I would have to be attending those as well.
Have you never brought your books and set up a table at one of those events?
No, I have not. I recognize that like I ought to pursue that angle, but at this point I have not done any of that. Basically. Also, like the book has not been published for terribly long, and I basically published it with no plan. So the first book came out April 30th of last year, which is why book 3 will come out April 29th of this year, so that they're not it's in the same year. Not a calendar year, but a year.
So 3 books in a year. How long are your books?
Let's see. So they're like 230 pages or something like that. I don't know. They're like 80,000 words, and I think the third book is slightly shorter, like 70,000 words. So they're pretty short. Also, they were all written before any of them were published, so that this kind of doesn't.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
So good, not word count. That's good. You're not doing the 160 or 310,000 word disasters.
Yeah, I mean, look,
disasters. They're just big books, man.
They're disasters. Trust me, I could edit out at least 150,000 words from a 310,000 word book.
Oh, you couldn't.
I absolutely could.
I've seen what you submit to your editor. You could not.
I would kill characters off. We don't need to know this one. We don't need to know that.
No, so the the story the story was kind of written as one book, but then I sort of like realized that like a like 250 like 1,000-word book is just like impossible to like get anyone to agree to read. And I've had even like my family members who I'm like, I'm trying to market my book to my family members, and they're like, all the books together, yeah, there's no way I'd read that. But this book, yeah, it's like,
Yeah. See?
Right.
And so you kind of, in some ways, it's sort of a trick because the trilogy is sort of incomplete if you only read one book, and so you're probably going to read all of them. But it's a much smaller commitment to pick up a little book and read it and then see. So it's a little awkward perhaps because the trilogy is not really like 3 separate stories. It's like a story with 3 sort of arcs of a sort, but they weren't planned as such. So it in many ways it's just one book, but it's in 3 separate parts.
Did you plan out the whole series or the whole story ahead of time, or are you just kind of making it up as you go?
I planned it out a lot, but then deviated considerably from it. Like, I think the whole of book 2 is like a page of notes that then got extrapolated like dramatically in like practice. Because it's like, well, actually, this is actually very interesting, and like these characters are fascinating, and so like exploring this dynamic more is actually interesting. So, and there was a lot of just like the characters sort of came alive in a way and wanted to do things, and I was like, well, I won't. Who am I to stop them? Really?
That's right.
I mean, I'm the author. I'm the only one who could stop them. But I was like, I think it was interesting, but there's sort of weird stuff because like the original notes have like very significant deviations from like what actually happened, even in like the like macro level. Like the main character was male in all of my notes, and then I was like gonna start writing. I was like, I think this character would be better if she was female. I think it would just be like the story would be more like interesting, and it didn't make like a huge difference, but I think the dynamics change like subtly in a way that I thought was a lot more interesting.
Yeah. So if you had all 3 of these ready to go before you hit publish on them, does that mean you have a couple more ready to go now? Were you using this last year to build up what's next, or were you just kind of taking a big deep breath?
Yeah, so I have one book that's sort of almost ready to go. And like almost is sort of a loaded term there. But it is done, and like my editor has gone through it, and I am making changes like actively. And so then I'll probably send it over to, I have some beta readers of a sort, and then they will presumably give some input on it, and there'll be some small changes after that. And then I'll probably try to actually get ARC readers this time, unlike for what I did with the first book where I just didn't do any of that.
Right. As you do.
Yeah, so there was a lot of just floundering around, basically. But no, especially with publishing these books, I was basically like, this time last year, I was just completely freaking out in all like measurable capacity, and I was like, you know what I'm not gonna do? Think about how to market literally any of this. I'm just gonna worry about getting the book published, and after that, I'm gonna see what I can do. And so like there was no like pre-marketing whatsoever.
But at least you've realized that after only 3 books, there are some people who still just ignore that whole part of it. So,
well, I mean, I kind of knew it had to be done. Like as an indie author, you will never,
right?
No one's gonna find you organically, basically. It's
Absolutely.
not right. I mean, technically, someone might, but it'll be in such small numbers that makes no difference. So it's like I have to do a little bit to try to market things, do what I can, find things to do, and see what can be done.
Suffer through a conversation with two people in their 50s. Yeah, that's what you have to do.
You have to do what, Mike?
You have to suffer through a conversation with two guys in their 50s to market the book.
I mean, obviously that's a large part of why I'm here, but also like
the suffering.
To attempt to market the book to at least some capacity, but like also it's fun to talk about your book.
Yeah,
it's one of those, if you're passionate about something, it is very easy to just blab on and on and on about it. And like a lot of the people I know, like personally, are kind of sick of me blabbing about it. So it's like a new opportunity has presented itself for me to blab about my books. And so I'm going to just do that.
You are in such good company because Mike never misses an opportunity to do that.
New cover, everybody. New cover. So if you have the old one, you should buy the new cover as well, so you have both types.
Absolutely
perfect idea.
And that's what you have to do, Stephen. Be absolutely shameless. Just take your pride, put it in a box, and
it's kind of awkward because it's like that's not my personality, so to speak. But also, it's like at a certain point, you just gotta put yourself out there,
Yeah.
Like I had an event where I visited the local library. They're doing renovations, and it was like a community group was there, and I had previously donated one of my books to the library. And so as we walked past, I was like, "Look, there it is, everybody, it's mine." And then a few people were like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have to get this book," and I was like,
Well, that's why you gotta do like shows, like even farmers markets. I've heard, people do really well at local farmers markets. Because the tables are generally inexpensive. It's only a few hours of a Saturday generally, especially if you're local, and you're in a kind of a college area too, which doesn't hurt by any means.
Stephen, I got the perfect pitch for you.
Okay.
Go to one of these farmers markets, and when they ask what your book's about, just go, "Well, there's this cheese maker, and who also brews beer." And you won't say anything else. All the Wisconsinites will want to copy this book.
Yeah, unfortunately, they might discover that neither of those things are true about the book.
But that's why you go to different farmers markets, so you don't ever encounter those people.
You can lie to them all. There's a cheese-making badger.
An alcoholic cheese-making badger.
Yeah, a little trickery here and there,
Badger cooking brats.
No, I mean honestly, like there is a farmers market that is hosted like 2 blocks from my house. Like it's like extremely nearby.
There you go. Just put stuff.
In fairness, it has been winter for a while, so I haven't pursued the farmers market angle. Now it's sort of warmed up, so there might actually be farmers markets happening now.
So, question for you: when you say it warmed up, does that mean when you go outside you don't see your breath anymore?
No, I mean it's like it was like 60-something degrees today, so it's pretty warm. It was like it snowed last Saturday, but like otherwise it's been like I don't know, like 60, like 50s and up for the last like month, probably maybe 2 months. It's been pretty warm most of the time, with like some very notable exceptions, which is not that uncommon for March and April.
Every year I get this little hankering to go back north, and then every year, like you say, last week I call my family. It's like, "What's happening?" "Well, it's snowing." It's like, "Oh, screw that." No way. No, thanks.
Well, snow is kind of. I don't mind snow.
When you're not writing, Stephen, what do you do?
I'm kind of play a fair amount of video games. I play board games just about whenever possible. I do hiking. There's some trails out there. I literally walk out the backyard onto like a hiking trail. That's fine. I go to some camping adjacent things. I do a fair amount of cooking. Yeah, the classic, like a bunch of stuff that you can do without anybody else.
Right.
I guess
Nice.
board games you do need other people, which is why I play them pretty much whenever I can, because I can't do that often.
What about like job wise? What do you do for your 9 to 5?
Yeah, so I'm a software developer. I'm probably closest you would say I'm a web developer. You know, like I build the front end for a application, a web application.
Anything we've heard of?
Possibly, but like unlikely. So it's a lad tech, and now it's a lad tech by TCP because we got acquired some years ago. It's this hoodie. That.
Nope, never heard of it.
Nope.
It's a scheduling software for like EMS and like fire people.
Oh, okay. Well, that
So
would explain
emergency response people. Yeah, I would not assume most people would know about its existence.
Believe it or not, with this physique, I am not a firefighter.
That's fair.
Pretty useful sending you in to break down the doors so people could get into things. Send in the mic.
Yeah. The Kool-Aid, the old commercials. That's always what I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Russia, bang, and boom. Anyway. So what's next for you there, Stephen?
As far as books are concerned, or so the plan is basically to continue to write books within this world until I die, because it seems that with each new book idea, there is the net number of ideas goes up, not down, every time I write, and so I will probably never finish. But so I got the.
Can I offer you some unsolicited advice?
I mean, sure.
Well, if you have to ask, is it really unsolicited?
Yeah. Well, anyway, don't write in the same universe until you die. Especially as you try to get out there more, and you know, if you start going to like Comic-Cons and things like that, give readers different entry points into different worlds. So, like, you know, if someone doesn't really gravitate toward this world of yours, maybe a different one they'll like, you know. But if you spend the next 20 years and you make 40 books in this world, that'll be great for the people who like that world, right? But you're kind of cutting off a lot of other possibilities.
And to add to that, I would just say, if you do decide to write other genres or other stories, just stay away from humorous sci-fi, because I'm doing really well with this, and I want to keep that up. Thanks, Ro.
All right. So your fan here said, "What inspired you to become a writer?"
I think, simply put, because I had stories I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And even now, like, I don't know, like I'm on social media and I see these people with the how to, be the best you can be at the craft of writing. And I'm just like, I don't really consider myself a writer. I consider myself a storyteller that happens to use writing because it seems to be the most accessible medium. I mean, I'm trying to improve my craft, of course, because, like, I'd want to tell the story in the best way I can. But ultimately, like, I want to tell stories.
Well, I got bad news for you. You, my friend, are a writer.
I accept that this is come to pass, but
yes, so you're a writer now.
Yeah, I think there is a distinction, sort of, like, it's one of those, like, it's sort of semantic, but not entirely, where I care mostly about telling a good story, and that's a lot of what writing is. But there is nuance to it. There's a difference between being a writer and a storyteller, and I happen to be both, but I would always lean toward being a storyteller. Like, that's the part I consider the important part.
Yeah. I think most readers would probably agree with you. Oh, they have another question. This is awesome.
Am I inspired by any other authors? I mean, I mean, everyone is, of course. It's sort of interesting because, there's the classic. Like, I think I'm inspired by Tolkien, which is like, I mean, a lot of fantasy authors are. But I think in more like specific ways as well, where it's like I like the meaning in like Lord of the Rings. I like kind of how it is done. There's symbolism, of course, and let's see how to say it. So basically, I like stories that are you would say uplifting. There's a different word I'm searching for that has escaped me, but it's like you are supposed to be like the heroes in the story. So in some ways, I am like actively uninfluenced by like the Game of Thronesification of fantasy. Like, I do not personally like that. I accept that other people love this, and that's perfectly fine.
I have terrible taste, but hey.
But I like it to be a certain level of not that dark, basically. Yeah. And I've watched some content that's been like, actually, Game of Thrones has some very deep morals, and I'm like, that's probably true. Like, I don't
wade through a river of blood and sex and everything. Yeah, you might get there eventually, but
yeah. But it's like it. So I accept that like it's sort of a movement that we have nowadays, largely I think inspired by Game of Thrones, toward more darker fantasy. That is just like a lot of people are writing that, a lot of people are reading that, they're enjoying that. That's fine. Personally, that's not really what I want to write, and so I tend not to. That's like the story I am writing now, the like current work in progress. It was darker than it is now. It was more gory, more brutal, and I just don't like it. I'll just tone it down a little bit. Like, the story is still much the same, but it's just a slightly lighter story.
You've got to like it before everybody else will. Yeah. What's that, Mike?
I said CEL. It is possible. You can tone it down.
No, but I mean that's what Stephen likes. EL likes writing what EL likes writing, and then there's nothing wrong with that either. So
yeah, no, I mean it's classically like I don't begrudge anyone for writing or reading pretty much whatever they want, right? Like, we all like different things. But like I will always like lean toward a sort of a cleaner sort of like in all ways, like with language, with like sex and with violence. I'll try to skew like on the cleaner side of that, just because that's what I like. Like I like reading it, and therefore therefore it is what I'll write because it's what I want to read.
Okay, let me ask you this. Of the three characters I'm about to give you, you tell me which one you think is most pointless to the story. I only have two in my mind, actually. I'm trying to think of a third one as I'm humming and hawing.
Are you going to say Arwen and Tom Bombadil and a third person?
Okay, Arwen's fine. That's a good. I didn't want to go with two Tolkien ones, but yeah. So Arwen, Tom Bombadil, and Jar Jar Binks. And you know what? Forget Arwen, Tom Bombadil, Jar Jar Binks, Ron Weasley. Who is the most pointless person in their story?
I'm like, well, I feel like Ron kind of does like things to advance the plot. Mostly they're like not intentional, but like they happen.
But you could almost have anybody do what Ron does, really.
That's more or less true.
Call me a tosser. That's fair.
I think it's complicated, and like the Lord of the Rings characters are complicated because, like, well, in the books, obviously things are different than in the movies. like, because Tom Bombadil, you know, existing is sort of dependent on this being interpreted through the lens of the book. And like Arwen arguably doesn't do like a heck of a lot in the book, but there is like inherent motivations that she like inspires, as one might say. I think in like the greater plot, it's probably Tom Bombadil. Yeah. Like he is like an interesting character, but like he does one very important thing. But to your point, theoretically, anyone could have done that. Not necessarily in the lore, but like in theory.
So of those three characters, which one, if you could actually remove one from the story, which one would you remove?
I'd probably remove Arwen because I don't like romance plots, and that is what she brings in large part.
I was kind of thinking there'd be some more Jar Jar hate there, but it's all right. Ron was the ballast that made this story float.
Yeah. So, Ro, we do have a question.
Yep, I saw that.
Tell us more about the cover art. Surprised EL didn't ask.
Yeah, no. So the cover art is all these are all hand drawn by my mom, and then tweaked a little bit. So they're like, I think it's like oil pastels and colored pencil. There's the actual pictures are like on behind my computer, but they are physical pieces of art that my mom drew and then I scanned in and then turned into the cover.
So did you get a good price?
It depends on what a good price is.
Well, 50% of your sales.
No, I did pay her though. So.
They're kind of very attractive pieces. The colors are really nice and it makes the book stand out. And I think the feeling you get from that cover gives you what you've told us the book is about, right? There's not a disconnect. There's not that disconnect between the cover and the story, right? That you get in some things. Like Mike has an example. Mike.
Oh, I told you I wasn't going to show it, but now. So my original Proxima Station, I came out with this, and 4 of my first 20 reviews were 2 and 3 stars, and I think it's just people looked at that and thought it was going to be more hard or serious sci-fi. So that's why we went with this cover now, so that we all know it is not a serious sci-fi. It is absolutely ridiculous from the word go.
Yeah, so we can have a weird like goat-looking alien thing. Is that what that is? I don't know what that is.
So the 5 alien races are based on the 5 dogs I've had in my life. So that was one of my dogs, and I just gave him tusks and several extra eyes, and yeah.
That's kind of a cool way to do it.
But he rolls around using the tusks, so it's kind of cool.
So his head is so big when he tries to run, he ends up doing forward somersaults, and so the tusk, he turns his head this way or that, and that's how he turns during his rolls.
Yeah, that's a very sophisticated means of locomotion, really.
So what are you going to do for your covers for your next books?
We'll see, to be honest. My mom is not like a professional artist by any means. She basically like drew when she was in high school and then like didn't draw very much at all until just recently. And so she found the process a little bit stressful. And so I'm not sure if that'll persist. Also, the future stories, I think, will have a different style of cover, perhaps. Right. So I haven't quite settled on all that yet, but we'll see. Because it's basically like, I think if my mom still wants to do the covers, probably do that. But if not, I'll have to pursue other angles, basically. But I think that'll be okay because the new covers, like the new stories, are like different in concept as well.
Right.
Like I said, the current one I'm working on is a darker story. Like it features trauma and like manipulation like very prominently, and so like it's it will probably not have a like sweeping landscape cover. It'll be a little more sort of probably darker and a little more intimate is what I'm thinking. So a little closer.
Is going to be a trilogy or a standalone?
This next one will be a standalone, and hopefully the one after that too. No, because I have a bunch of stuff sort of planned out for what the one I want to work on after that will be. But
any
we'll
audiobooks in the future?
I would say there's not currently any active plans beyond I should have audiobooks. That's the current thought process there. Like I recognize that like a lot of people love audiobooks. I don't actually personally listen to audiobooks. Basically ever. I don't even have like the software set up to like to do that, because it's like for me that's just not how I enjoy reading. So I don't. It's one of those like I recognize other people love this and I want to like accommodate them basically, but like it's one of those like I don't know what to do because I don't personally do audiobooks very much. So I don't know, I need to look into all that still. A lot of stuff was kind of being pushed back because I was basically like, I would like to have the finished trilogy out so that I could basically style on George R.R. Martin a little bit. And then figure things out after that. So I was like, I want to have this all done and wrapped up so that people can read the full story and enjoy it, and then I'll worry about sort of the other things after that, which is like now is approximately the time I need to start worrying about that stuff.
So, Stephen, who is your main character?
So it's Cinca.
Cinca?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question that I haven't asked in like 6-9 months, something like that.
Ooh.
So we want to know your main character a little better. So I want you to visualize you and Cinca are going to Walmart together.
Oh.
And you go to grab a basket, and when you turn around, she's gone. Where has she gone? What is she doing?
That's a very interesting question. I'm not immediate. It's not like immediately certain for me what precisely she would be doing.
Like, does she love bread? Would she go there? Is she going straight for the guns? You know, is she a basketball fan? You know,
Yeah, I think
tents. You know, what would draw her eye?
I think it kind of probably depends. So the thing is, her driving thing that she's seeking within the book is like someone to teach her magic, right? Like that's a thing, and she's also, of course, looking for what happened to her mother, who left when she was like 5, and then never returned. So like those are a lot of the driving things. It's like what does she actually do like for fun? What does she like enjoy doing? I think she would gravitate toward books, certainly.
Okay.
I
like her already.
Yeah, classic. I mean, she would notably avoid children who are there within the store and go wherever they are not.
Okay, she's getting better and better all the time.
Yeah, so that I mean, I guess you could argue like that. I'm assuming this is all like as the story starts, because there's certain growth in certain areas and how she develops in certain ways or another. But it's like she would probably also sort of gravitate toward sort of like any sort of tool that could aid her in her sort of quest for like more like skill and or knowledge. And some of that could be like survival equipment, depending on what she's attempting to do. Right? She's sort of single-minded in her two goals, so to speak.
Why after 20 years does she think that finding her mother is a reasonable possibility?
She mostly doesn't. I would say at the start of the story, mostly wants to figure out what happened to her mother. And holds out some degree of hope that her mother is still alive. But I think even at the very start of the story, she's not terribly hopeful. Now, why after 20 years? Sort of the simple and crude way of saying it is I say she got fired from her job and therefore is looking to do something with her life that she doesn't actively hate.
So what job does she have?
So she was what is called a nursemaid, wherein she was responsible for sort of tending to a noblewoman's children and protecting them to a degree. And in the world, healing magic is pretty powerful, and so like healing their like boo-boos and such. That was what she did.
But she got fired.
Yeah, sort of.
That begs a question.
And you have to read to find out.
Well, I mean, let's just say she did not like her job.
It explains the, moving away from children in the store, at least.
Yes, that is sort of the goal.
Okay, so not a maternal person. That's.
I mean, not exactly. I think there's nuance there. I did not, in fact, want to just write like an entirely motherly character who's just like, you know what I want? Children. It's like, no, we're not writing that.
Right.
Well, if he's not in this story, maybe some future story will have that, but that's not this character.
All right. Well, let's throw these up one more time. So book 1, Mage's Mentor, and you can find all these on Amazon. Anywhere else?
No, they're only on Amazon.
You have paperback and hardback?
I do. And there's ebooks, but that was probably assumed.
And book 2, Sentinel Sacrifice. That's book 2, right?
That's book 3.
That's book 3.
Sorry, I had them in the right order to begin with. So the book 2 is Trader's Toil. And this book comes out Friday?
April 29th. So
6 days.
Next Wednesday.
I think, I was going to say next Wednesday. Yeah.
Next Wednesday. All right, so you've got 6 days to go ahead and get through Mage's Mentor and Trader's Toil.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly probably doable.
Yeah.
They're not that long.
Did you make these alliterative on purpose?
Yeah, they all have the same. They were named deliberately to be the word "a" and then a possessive alliteration, so they all follow that pattern.
So, Stephen, do you have this up on pre-order? Your third book on Amazon?
Yes, it is.
So while you do want to finish the first 2 books in the next 6 days, you want to first go to Amazon and pre-order book 3. Therefore, you're giving yourself a deadline when you have to finish the first 2 books.
That's right.
It's perfectly reasonable.
Perfectly reasonable. And after that, read all my books. This one's a great read, I promise.
All right. Okay, so next Wednesday for Sentinel Sacrifice, and go. You don't have a website, you said, right, Stephen?
That is correct. Someday I will, but currently I don't.
But you can find him on Amazon anyway.
Yep.
So
that's true.
And Stephen, I did away with my website. I just use Substack because it's free, and I don't have to do like any of the email. I can email people for free, so I don't have to have MailerLite or anything like that. I like free. I'm an author, so
Being currently deeply in the red, I like free also.
you're an author. We know that. You said you're an author. We know you're deeply in the red.
Right.
I don't I professionally am a web developer, so it really does feel like I should have a website.
So just remember, they said that Edgar Allan Poe ended up losing money on all the things he published. So you're in the same boat as Edgar Allan Poe.
And I will
so tell people that when you go to the farmer's market the one time, to tell them that you have a drunk cheese maker as your main character.
I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
Do you think people like Edgar Allan Poe's ghosts are walking around just really pissed off that their descendants are making money off them that they never made?
Well, not now. Now it's free, so you can publish your own.
We always said that to my mom as she's making art. In these last few years, like, look, when you're dead, these are gonna be so valuable. When you're alive, they're worth nothing though, because you're an artist, and like you can just make another one. They're not valuable right now.
So Steven, Matt Slay,
web developer.
So Matt Slay has done covers for both Roe and I. And when I had my first one, this one right here, done, he's like, look, when I die, you have a 90-day window where all my art will be very valuable. Then it will crash. So if I die, you got 90 days to sell it. And I'm like, thank you. I don't have 90 days period where my books will be, valued. So I am a little jealous.
I think as important as it is to be realistic and to recognize that, like, realistically, very low odds of success as an indie author. I think it's good to keep that 0.5% of hope to be like, maybe someday people will actually read my book and I will be not necessarily popular, but at least known. And then you dial that back because you don't want to get yourself false expectations. But I think it's good to have a little hope there, just a little bit.
That's why people buy lottery tickets, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's a good idea, though.
So I will tell you, I've morphed on from that, and now I just hope that the people who I write into my books as terrible characters will recognize themselves if they should ever read it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it's always like I want to tell stories, right? And telling stories does require some degree of an audience. But I went in to publishing my books with 3 goals. The one is have a physical copy of my book. We did it.
There you go. Got to show it. Every chance you get, you show that book.
The second one is to have more time be spent reading it than I spent writing it. And I think it's actually probably pretty close right now. And then the third one, which is a little more of a pipe dream, is to not actively lose money on the book.
And that's all of our goals right there.
We're a little far out on that one still, but maybe someday.
Yep. All right. Well, Stephen, thank you very much. Mike and I'm back Wednesday with the writing.
Sunday we are back. I just have not made the link yet, so it doesn't show up yet.
So Sunday at 7, and
Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have the one and only Timothy Robert.
All right. Episode.
Who, by the way, is a horrible, horrible person in my next book I'm publishing.
Nice.
So,
but Stephen is not
will have him on again.
Person. He's been very nice and kind and generous with his time with us. Thank you very much from Wisconsin. I hope it stays sunny up there.
Well, it's not sunny now, so it's not going to stay that way.
I hope that when you turn 50 eventually one day, you don't, discover that cheese is no longer an option for you.
That would be devastating.
That happens. And for those of you who have joined us tonight, thank you very much. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do that. And we hope to see you back here Sunday at 7.
Thanks for having me.
So the last thing to do, Steve, is to wave awkwardly as we wait for YouTube to end the stream.